Hi, my name is Mitra, Manesh. I'm a servant. I serve through teaching, coaching, consulting, or any other way that I can find to share what I know with those who want to know. And this Lights On podcast is one of those ways. It was created with consciousness and mindful living in heart. So join us as we travel through many roads of learning and transformation together. And if you enjoy our podcast, please give us feedback by rating us 5-star and share us with others if you think they may benefit from it. On behalf of my team, I thank you for your presence. I'm really excited to bring to you our first coaching podcast session in which I coach a coachee anonymously. This episode ended up being about certainty, confidence, and connecting with our energetic self. So go grab your journal, especially if you're feeling lost in the changes of life these days, or if you want to understand the root of feeling confident, or if you're interested in deeper energetic aspect of yourself. Let's take a listen. My coachee today, a wonderful young woman originally from Europe, living in US, and in a relationship with a partner that she calls spiritual. Let's call you Sarah. So okay. Sarah, my coachee of the day. Sarah started a business recently, and of course, because of the pandemic, it's not going well. There are a lot of questions for her. Should I stay here? Should I leave? Should I do this? Should I not do this? What's going on? And I have a question in my questionnaire, and I say, if I was a magician and if I could give you anything you wanted, what would that be? And you answered certainty, correct? Okay. Yes. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, certainty, because I think the hardest for, at least for me today, is to see the future, to plan, to be able to plan anything, because we have no certainty that business will pick up again. So I deal mainly with tourists, so I depend on borders reopening. So as long as I don't have a certainty that borders will reopen, then I can't really plan for the future, or I would have to plan something else. So having certainty would probably be something that would put me at ease and at peace, and knowing that it's okay to continue in that direction or not. And not having that today is really frustrating for me in many aspects of my life. So that's why I put certainty.
I'm glad you did, because that just led our session into somewhere that is very important. And I'm sure many people are experiencing the same issue in many different forms. So I always say, like, we have so much in common as human beings. But of course, yours looks like this, mine look like that, depending on the situation. But let me just talk about certainty, because I could give you almost anything except certainty, because you see, sorry, might be a very short session. Like, have a great day. But that's beautiful that you brought it up. It is so important that we see and become extremely realistic. People like those words, realistic about what we can expect and what we can't. You see, it's been just a few minutes since we started speaking to each other. And I can tell you that you have changed as a human being, and so have I. And probably many events took place between these few minutes of saying hello and starting this conversation. And that is exactly why certainty is not something that is achievable in this lifetime. So, or in this realm of existence. I'm sure there's certainty somewhere else. I've never been there or can't remember being there. But let's just work with what we have. So that's exactly why we feel the way we feel, because we're chasing something that it's impossibility. Exactly. But that's not the end of conversation. That is not the end of conversation. The good news is there's something we can do about it. So instead of, and I was teaching a class which was about what questions we're asking in life. And the title, I think, was Change Your Question, Change Your Life. So your question is, how do I achieve certainty? Well, you would be asking that question until those beautiful hair that you have around your face is the color of my hair. It's completely gray. And you're going to ask the same question and you still be looking for an answer because that doesn't exist. But if you change that, and here's my invitation and suggestion to you, if you change that to how can I more skillfully work with the uncertainties of life? Okay, now immediately an ease became at least my experience because I know that is a possibility. I know I can learn skills. I know I can change beliefs. I know I can change circumstances in order to go closer to that place where changes happen. Uncertainty, as you called it, it's really about changes, happens on a breath by breath basis. But I'm not as destroyed, that's a strong word, or affected by them. So the beautiful statement in the world of mindfulness is that we cannot stop the waves, but we can learn to surf them much, much better. So I'm going to stop and get your feedback and see where that takes you. And let's just go a bit slower so that everybody can catch up with us and see what happened when I said that to you.
No, I think I don't think I had, when I wrote certainty, I didn't think that, I know it's impossible, but I didn't know that you would share the same feeling as me. So that's reassuring already. Because I think not only we're always, I know for me, because I'm a little insecure, I think having certainty is something that I'm always looking for to reassure me, right? Whether it's in my professional life, in my personal life, in my relationship, I'm always in need and asking for that reassurance, right? Whether it's with my partner, I want him to tell me things that probably he doesn't know I want. And same thing for jobs. Being an entrepreneur is harder too because you don't have anybody telling you, good job today, you did great, here's a reward or here's a promotion. And I think having that in my past career was something that was reassuring. And now that I don't have that, I'm always looking for it. And so I think what you said is good for me because it makes me reflect and say, okay, I need to stop, take a moment and relax and not chasing that certainty that clearly I cannot get. That I cannot get, but yes, like trying to find different ways to understand how I can be more stable rather than just chasing that unknown. So I think that's helpful.
Yes. And I think this is just so for everything in life, because most of us, and I understand it came from a certain period of time in our history where determinism became a thing that wonderful, advanced people told us that if you have enough information, you can actually predict the outcome, which is somehow incorrect and inaccurate, because let's go. Ooh, that was interesting. Oof. Yes, that was. I take that as an approval. Like woo. But here's a very small thing so that you can connect to. Say I want to come and meet you in your home tomorrow, right? And I measure the distance. I know exactly. I know you live in another state, but let's just say I live where you live and close by, and I want to come. And I check the distance. I check the traffic, everything. And even in the morning, I check it just before leaving, right? But as I leave and as I'm on the road, something happens on the road, which happens every day, especially in the cities that you and I live in. So what happened? I got all the information. I calculated it. I really, really planned well. But you see, the circumstance or circumstances changed. And that's the nature of life. It's so important that we understand that which we're chasing, which is continuity and no change, is not called life. That is actually called death. There's a beautiful, I have an app. There's a beautiful story in that app that I talk about how I was with a client of mine in the hospital. People, for some reason, like me to be in the room when they're leaving their body. And that was the gift that she gave me, that I was actually watching the monitor as I was sitting there and holding the space for her, with her. I saw the monitor going up and down and up and down, and the professionals in the hospital came in and unplugged her. And then I realized that the line went like, ooh. And that moment, yes, it was so, it's an honor to be in the room. Emotion came. And that was the gift she gave me. I thought, oh my God, we want life, which goes up and down, to look like death, which is one line. That is not called life. When she left, there was one line, okay, very determined, we know she's gone. But while we're here, these ups and downs are part of life. I call it, I get up in the morning, and of course I've got relatives and clients all over the world. Lord knows what I open my computer and phone to. And I think, okay, here I come, ready for life. Ready for life, meaning I'm ready to surf. I'm ready to go up and down and up and down. That's why I take care of myself before I do that, because I know surfing is required, emotional surfing. So, and then, is there anything else I need to say about this, or you want to say about it before I go into the next point?
No, please go on.
You said I'm unsure and I need feedback from other people. What people call self-esteem, and I know you mentioned that as well in your form, I really call it, or confidence, they call it confidence. I really call it clarity. Because when you have clarity, you feel a certain way that doesn't really need so much from other people. Of course, having said that, we do need those sort of feedback from our loved ones, especially, and from our, people we work with and people we live with, people we are with. That's there's nothing wrong with that. And I want you to actually continue requesting that. But I want you to get a sense of clarity to do requests, to ask for very clear things, both from yourself and from others. And don't forget, I'm calling it request, not demand, because you may or may not get it, huh? At best, I can say, Sarah, would you please do this and that for me, right? I don't know. You may say, no, sorry, Mitra, can't do it. Not today, at least, right? But if I don't ask and if I don't have that clarity, then I will not get it. Because if I couldn't identify it, what are the chances that you identify my needs and my request?
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And that's something I'm working on. I know I'm having because of the lack of clarity that I'm going to use this word, that I have within me, I think I'm having a hard time translating what I need and what I want. So it's a very messy cloud. And yes, I need to be able to say those words to me before I can tell them out. My partner is really good at making me talk. But yeah, sometimes the word is just a blur of words, and then I have to really be pushed to talk. It doesn't really come naturally for myself. So I think clarity makes total sense on what you're saying.
Because clarity is something we can obtain. Confidence, I don't know where that is. Clarity is I ask myself and practice.
I think clarity gives me less pressure. Because confidence is such a strong word, and you have to be confident, and people are going to tell you have to do this for yourself, you have to look good, you have to be strong, and it's a tough job to do. But I think if you just use the word clarity, I'm already at ease and I'm at peace. I'm like, okay, if I start with that, then you're right. Everything else just makes sense, and it comes more calmly, I want to say. And you don't have that pressure of being confident.
Exactly. And I like the posture you're making every time you say confidence. Exactly. It's like you take yourself up and it's like, oh, confidence. And it's not achievable, because confidence, first of all, the look of it changes every day. The size of it changes every day. And there's always something new that I cannot achieve. And that really gets us lost, because to begin with, that's not achievable anyways, unless you have a very unhealthy life. But like, okay, let's say there are some things that are achievable and it's not achievable for me, at least, with the conditions that I have, the life I have. But clarity, I can always ask myself, what do I need? And so to get there, allow me to offer you a tool, which is very, very important. It's a 3-step, just every day you can do it. It's very, very simple. And I mean, I sometimes get my clients to put an alarm on their phones, gentle alarm, something that goes ding, ding, not like woo. And when it does, or maybe just 3 times a day, I always say before lunch, breakfast, and dinner, you can just ask that so that it's attached to a habit that it's already there for you before you drink your whatever. Ask yourself, what am I feeling? And it doesn't need to be very accurate. It's not diagnostic. It's just like you can just say, okay, or upset, disappointed, whatever it is. And all emotions are welcomed in this world. So just name your emotion. And I want you to just ask yourself, and either it's a welcomed emotion, comfortable emotion, or it's an unwelcome emotion. If it is an unwelcomed emotion, which there's likely that during the day we feel tension, it's possible, you ask yourself, what do I need right now? So one is, what am I feeling? What am I needing right now? Because in the root of everything we're feeling, there is either an unmet need or a met need. So let's go to the opposite. I say, like, I feel really comfortable right now. And I am. I'm feeling very connected with you. I'm feeling comfortable. So what is the need? So what is the feeling? Feeling is comfortable, at ease. And then I ask myself, what need is being met right now that I'm feeling that? And for me, is connection right now. So I connected well with you. So I'm feeling that. As a result, the ease, the comfort. This is our first, recording of our coaching podcast. And here I am completely at ease. So the need that was met was connection, synergy, whatever you want to call it. Same thing with a feeling that is not welcomed. So you ask yourself, what am I needing? And the third step is, how can I help myself right now? And from that, so what you're doing is you're really going to the basics of, well, how can I take care of myself first and foremost? And of course, in that question, then something might arise that you may want to request of me, right? Maybe I'm going too fast, right? Say that you're feeling nervous because you're not following what I'm saying and you're not feeling connected to me. Say that was the need. And then you say, what do I need? I need this slower paced and what slower pace. And you ask yourself, how can I do that? So, okay, I can speak slower. That will always help me. I can also ask Mitra to go slower. So there is the request. A request was born. And you say, Mitra, could you please go a little bit slower? I'm just trying to follow what you're saying. You see, it is so simple. Most things are simple in life. And that's why we don't do it. If I made a potion and said, like, give me $8,000 a month and drink this at this time, you say, okay, I'll do it and I'll have clarity. But because this is so simple, we just sometimes ignore it. I'm going to stop, ask you what you feel about this tool and how that's sat with you or didn't sit with you.
I think that's helpful because also I've been working on trying to understand who I am as a person. Because I think, especially during that time that we had a lot of time to self-reflect, I don't think it's a question that I've answered. We had that conversation, I don't remember with who, but it said, who are you? And it was hard for me to answer. So I think those tools can really be helpful in also, in a way, getting to that point, right, of understanding myself better, knowing who I am, and trying to put words on my feelings. It's something that I don't necessarily do. And so I will definitely try that.
Great.
I took notes.
I know, I can see you're taking notes. You're a good student. So let me see if you are if you had enough, this is enough, or do you want to go? Because there was something that you just brought up. It's very interesting how you guiding me to the next step so beautifully and smoothly. So I remember in your form, you said that your partner is a spiritual, but you're not. And now you ask yourself, who am I? Do you want to get into that a little bit, or do you think
Sure.
you, okay.
No, we can get into that.
Okay, perfect. So you said that I am not spiritual. Well, let's first of all understand what spiritual means, because that has a connotation. Really, the way I work with it, I call it energy. I'm not
Yes.
attending to my energetic aspect of me.
Exactly. I don't think maybe I didn't phrase right. I don't think don't want to say that I am not spiritual versus someone that is spiritual. I don't think you can really put something like that, but maybe I was less attracted or less into that word. I had less knowledge, I want to say. I don't want to say that I'm not spiritual, but maybe I had less knowledge. And whether he has a lot more I mean, I wouldn't say his background, his interests. His interests were a lot more spiritual than mine were, which is a beautiful thing, I think, because we learn from each other, right? And it's something that I am interested. I do believe in the spirituality and the energy of things, and all this. I don't want to say that I'm not for it, but yes, when I say I'm not spiritual, that I was maybe um, I had less interest, and now I do a lot more. But it's hard. I don't know where to start. Like, how do you start? You know, people talk about their spiritual journey and mindfulness, and everybody's talking about it those days. And so it's very difficult to understand what it means for me. I'm trying to understand what it means for me, and not compare it to someone else. It could be somebody. Some people go on silent retreats, and some people just meditate in the metro, which is very different, but they still have that spiritual connection. And I'm just trying to find it for myself.
Mm. Well, you self-coached just now. Thank you. That was perfect. Perfect. You just said it exactly. It's not like I'm not, it's just I haven't paid attention to it. And that's a very healthy way of looking at it. And that's fine. I mean, you can still look into it, you can still connect to it. But again, it's just that spiritual life. That's why I don't use that word and I call energy, because it's like the word confident. It's exactly the same thing, that you think it has a certain picture and you got to go for 6 months of silence, and you got to do this every day, and you got to be that kind of person. And I'm saying, no, please take all that pressure off all of these things. Honestly, when I started my journey, I had none of these around me. I didn't even know anything, but I was curious. I was curious. And to be honest with you, through absolute pain, it got so bad that I needed to go to another, level of consciousness. I realized this is not sustainable. And then I went to paying attention to that which was not visible to me, called energy, which seems to me, in my experience, that it's the source of everything. And that's the good place, that the good news is that there is an aspect of us that it's got nothing to do with anything that we think and want to put pressure on ourselves. We can just very gently ask that question. You don't need to look like all these spiritual magazines cover.
Yes, because then I would feel bad when I tried yoga and it's not really my thing. And that was one of the first steps. And I'm like, oh, maybe I'm just not that person. But, and it's just, yes, looking for different ways. And I do believe in the energy, and I listen to different podcasts. And for me, that's how I do it, I guess. So it's refreshing to hear that you have a different perspective on that, and that we don't have to fit in the society of what they're, especially now. I think it's very in vogue, the spirituality and mindfulness and all the things. So it's just very difficult to understand what it means also.
Exactly. It's been packaged like everything else. And honestly, I'm not interested in packaging. I'm interested in the unfolding of my experience and that of my clients and students. So let go of, that's the first step. Let go of anything and everything that you thought you need to do and look like in order to be more into your deeper sense and your energetic self. Let all of that go. That's great. It sells magazines, it sells courses, it sells many things. But, it's not the must. The real must is that you have curiosity about that you have an interest around that. And that's the only thing that you need. And you know what? You do, because of exactly what you just said, that you've gone there, except you thought to be in this world, you need to look like these people. And I'm saying, let that go. That's advertising. There's a wonderful thing about the so-called, the mindfulness world becoming mainstream, that it's accessible to everybody. But the not so wonderful aspect of it is that it's also in the hands of the corporate world and packaging and advertising. Anybody that has done 2 sessions is now teaching it. So as a result, it has a look. And I'm saying the look is not the real look for you. It may be how I look when I'm doing that, and that's great. I may be completely honest about that, but yours is very different. So let go of all of that to create this and really explore your curiosity and really going deeper, just wondering. That's how we become wonderful, when we are full of wonder. And I want you to become wonderful and really ask yourself, exactly. Just ask yourself, I wonder what that even means to me. It's self-discovery. There might be some guides out there, and some of them are really good and helpful, but let go of all that look and packaging that the world is offering to you, because what I offer you is good for me. But the question for you is it good for me? Meaning you. So that's the second thing that I want to ask you to do. I love steps, by the way. I have dyslexia, so a lot of steps. And the third one is just start where it feels comfortable for you. Allow it to come to you. Don't grab it and don't go looking for it. It's really interesting. When we open it, this thing, the curiosity, all of a sudden you're standing and the right book is in front of you. All of a sudden you're talking to your friend about food and he says like, oh, I did this and I did. You think, oh, let me check that. It comes to you if you don't chase it so much.
That's true. Because I've been on a journey to understand myself and to find myself. And, we always say the master comes to the student when he's ready. But I felt like it was never coming for me. So I've been trying to look. And I wanted to understand myself better, but on different levels, whether it was spiritually, childhood, past, relationship, everything. And so, but this world is so big and I just didn't know where to start. So I tried therapy and reading a book about meditation, how to meditate, those things, and nothing really stayed with me. And I think the conversation that we're having now, to be honest, is giving me a lot more than everything that I've tried until now. So I'm really grateful for that.
I'm grateful for your gratitude, actually, and for this opportunity to serve, because sometimes these little things may be more helpful than the plans that we have for our life.
Like just one conversation is probably doesn't couple months of therapy, because like I said, I was trying to for myself, not that I don't think I had like one issue that I wanted to work on. So it's difficult to explain to someone, I don't really have any issue, but I just want to understand who I am and talk. And I think some people don't really know how to approach that. And I think that's a beautiful thing about what you do. You talk about energy and how to just guidance on how to live your emotions. And I think that's to me, it speaks more than other things. So,
music to my ears. So what I do always in my actual coaching sessions, I summarize for 3 points, and you just gave me perfect 3 points. So the first point was that we talked about certainty. And I said, instead of chasing certainty, which is unachievable, ask yourself, how can I work more skillfully with uncertainty? which is far more doable, and it actually takes you somewhere. That was our point number one. And point number two was about confidence versus clarity. Instead of being sure about myself, I just want to have clarity about myself, about my needs, about my feelings, about what will help me really. And then from there, see if any request comes for other people that are around you. But first, you have clarified that and you've attended to your own needs. You've given yourself that which you need. And then whatever remains, you may need help of others, but you're very clear about that. And you go in with an energy of request as opposed to demand, which brings a lot of disappointment. The third point we talked about was the energetic aspect of you, how you don't need to look certain way or do certain things even, except to just be full of wonder, curiosity, and interest in really getting to know yourself energetically. Because once you understand yourself from a deeper level, a lot of more sort of closer to the surface level makes sense. When you understand something about, the things that you cannot see, it's really interesting. It sheds light on things that you can see. So just for the time being, have that wonder, have that curiosity, ask that question, and then be open to seeing what comes your way. You are listening to the really voices of the universe that way. You are in tune with the voices of universe when you ask that, and then you wait and it comes to you, and you will see that a lot of things make sense.
It's a lot to me what you said about clarity and everything. So thank you.
I'm so glad. Thank you so much for being our first coachee.
I'm very honored.
So am I. And I wish you all the best. And I hope that these tools somehow will help you and assist you in your beautiful journey.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Mitra.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.
Hope this episode answered the question or two for you, or provoked and inspired questions in you. I'm so grateful you showed up and listened up. Until the next time, be well and stay curious.